Hello there! Today we're taking a look at the game called Dice City. It's from Artipia Games and AEG.
This is a dice placement game where you represent a noble family and you try to build up the city from a small village to a capital.
Yeah, and you're defending against barbarians.
Yes, bandits and all that.
And so on. And
Yeah.
against each other. Or, yeah.
Let's
Let's
have
see.
a look how
Let's
it's
see.
played.
Yeah. So the Dice City is played over the course of many rounds, where each player will do his full turn, all the phases, all the actions he wants to do, and then the turn goes to another player, and you do that clockwise until one of the end game conditions is met. And the end game conditions is either when all the 3 bandit stacks are empty, or 2 of the 3 trade ship stacks are empty, or the whole building stack is empty as well. And the 4th condition is when one player has built up 2 rows completely with these cooler buildings. Then the game will end, each player will get equal number of turns and you will score points then. So, but on your turn, what you're gonna do? First of all, in the setup, you will roll these dice, and later you will roll these dice at the end of your turn. For now, I'll roll the dice, and as you can see, there are the dice numbers here and the colors to each of the rows. So I'm gonna put the dice in a same color row and under the number that's on the dice. So it goes like that. Let's say this one here, this one here. So, and now I will use these dice for various actions. The simplest action is to use the ability under the dice here. So you will use these are basically the basic buildings. So the simplest abilities are, for example, getting resources. I can get 1 stone if I remove this die, so I'm gonna get 1 stone into my stock. I can get victory points, I can re-roll dice, I can get army, which I can use later to attack. I'm gonna explain a little bit later, and so on. When I have better buildings, better abilities, these are much cooler. I'm going to talk about them later as well. I get to use them as well, and some abilities will manipulate dice, mitigate this dice luck here. So that's one of the possibilities how to use the dice. The other way how to use dice is to, if I remove, let's say I remove one of the dice, whatever I want. For example, I'm going to remove this die. I can move another die in the same row to adjacent space. So for example, I really wanted to have more army. So I remove this, for example, this yellow die, and now I can move this red die to adjacent spot and get more army. So that's one of the abilities as well. The third is to just to discard the die and refresh 4 of the 8 available buildings in the market, so you can get 4 new buildings. So maybe the choice is not so good here, you want to refresh it. So one of refreshments. And the 4th is just to pass, and when you pass, you remove the die as well. So each time you remove die when you do something, and you get the pass token. And pass tokens are used to get extra resources, to get +1 to the army as well, or to force opponents to reroll dice. So these are the pass tokens. So these are how you use your dice. And let's take a look at different buildings as well. So here we have some basic buildings where you can get iron, stone and wood, and you can reroll dice at army and get victory points here as well. So it's just basic. But there's some other, like for example, the buildings are like, there are some of military buildings and others. For example, this watchtower, it costs these resources to build. It will give that many points at the end of the game if it's built. It has the defense, and I'm going to talk about attacking as well later. And it will give you a special ability when you have the die on here and you will use that location, use the ability. Like for example, add 3 army, like 3 sword to your army that can only be used to, to attack bandits. So that's a cool thing. Or there are some other like economy buildings where pay 1 or 2 of any one resource for each one paid, get 2 of any other resources. So you're gonna exchange resources in a better way and still you're gonna pay these resources and get that many points at the end of the game. And you're gonna just build up. When you let's go by the phases. Here are some Here are some basic buildings where this is from the expansion, the gold mine, where you can get gold as well. I'm not really going to talk about the expansion that much. Lumber mill, where you can get better amount of wood. Normally you can get 1 wood from one location. Now you will get 2 wood from one location. And quarry and mine, or you're gonna have army, where you can get 2 army in the locations in 1. And there are the trade ships here. And these need a lot of resources, but they will give you a lot of points. And we have bandits, which have different defense. When you attack bandits, you're gonna get the cards, and you're gonna get these points at the end of the game. So now about the phases. So the first phase is you're gonna resolve all your dice. You're gonna collect some resources probably from the dice or do some special abilities. After that, you have the attack phase. So as you have collected the army, the swords, the power for yourself, you now can use that power to attack bandits or attack other players' buildings that are built on his board. So for example, as already showed you, there is a defense value 4. I need to basically use 4 swords to attack this building on opponent's side. And what will happen? The building will be deactivated. And to reactivate, you need to use one of your dice. So that's basically it. The other way is, to attack bandits and get straight victory points. You can do as many attacks as you want, as long as you have swords. And that's the whole time. The other attacking is stealing resources from the opponents. It takes you 2 swords to steal 1 resource from the opponent. After that, we have the phase of trading ship and building buildings. You can build as many buildings as you want, as long as you have available resources. You're going to use the resources, then you're going to take the buildings and you're going to place them on top of any of the spot that you have. You can also place buildings on already previously placed buildings, but I think it's not very efficient. So, for example, I think that I'm not going to approach the strategy of a lot of army. I'm going to cover one of the armies. Later, if I roll a 2 red, it's going to land on here. I have a better building, better ability. And you're going to build up the whole town like that. The trade ship is just, you're going to discard all these resources and get victory points. There are bigger ships, like 20 points, but there's only 1 of them. So it's a lot of points. And that's it. And you end your turn basically with discarding excess resource that you have. You can have in your stock, basically, at the end of your turn, you can have 1 of each resource. So there's stone, 1 metal, and 1 wood. You can keep those for your next turn. Everything else must be discarded, all excess resources. If you have 3 wood, 2 of them must be discarded. And then the play goes to another player. And he will do the same thing, or maybe he will attack you a little bit, he will get resources. And you build up until you meet one of the ending conditions, and then you will count points from the built buildings, you will count points from the bandits that you have slayed, or from the trade ships that you have bought, basically, as well. And that's it, and whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. The expansion, All That Glitters, that we have, adds a commodity, which is gold, and the gold can be used to basically trade it for whatever resource you want. And some buildings, some new buildings need gold to be built or need gold to be used. So that's basically, it's another variability, another resource. And that's the whole game. That's how you play Dice City. So let's share our thoughts about this game.
Let's do that. We always start with components. Components of the game are okay. Well, actually, I would say they are fine.
Yeah.
I would want to have maybe not tokens, cardboard tokens of the resources, but maybe like wooden, not cubes, but you know, you could do like a special
the custom shape resources, yeah.
Yes, because you take them in hand and put away constantly all the time. It's not as easy to take a cardboard tiny tokens.
But it would increase the total MSRP, I think.
Yeah. It's
Anyway,
just a small thing
yeah.
that just came to my mind.
My own like caveat, and that I've babbled about it in many videos, and it's just me.
Yeah. Just
Don't take it personally. I don't like when cards have borders, and especially I hate when cards have black borders, because they get like weird.
Yeah,
they wear. I don't like. Yeah, I like the card art to have like to be without borders, a complete the card art there. But that's my caveat. That's my negative that I don't like. What is cool is that the boards were made. The bending part was made great, so it would not bend the other, or like it would stay flat on the table. That's a cool thing. Yeah. What do you think about the rules and
I didn't read the rules, but during the plays, we rarely ever had to double check something from the rule book, because everything was clear. All the icons, everything that's shown on the cards is really easy to understand, and the small text, everything clear, which is definitely a good thing in the game.
Yeah. I read the rule book basically twice, so at some point we needed to basically have another recall or basically reread the rules, and I read them through quite easily. Everything was understandable. We played with the expansion as well, and the expansion was understandable as well, so everything is really clear, well written rule book. The small caveat that I have is that the dice step reference sheet doesn't have the endgame conditions.
It could, because the other side is completely not used. It just has a picture.
Yeah, maybe so you can see what endgame conditions are, but we're going to talk about them a little bit.
I think we can do it right away. There are so many end conditions. Sometimes it's hard to keep them all in mind. On our very first game, we actually missed one end condition, and the game got quite longer because of that.
Yeah. We missed this 2 rows ending condition, which is, by the way, you can do the optional thing and skip that endgame condition, but I think it will make the game even longer.
But overall, the game is really neat engine building, and usually engine building games are rather hard or mid-weight. So this one, I would say, is a really simple engine building.
On the lighter side.
On the lighter side, and the one to teach the mechanic to either new gamers or something. You don't even realize that you're building engine while you're doing that. And your city, there's so many ways to build that. You can actually end up with completely different towns. One person can concentrate on resources, another one in military, third person in
victory points,
like those buildings. So I really like that part.
Yeah, but basically you want to concentrate on the victory points, and you can get these victory points through military or just the buildings, or collecting lots of resources and trading with the ship. So the engine building part is cool here, and as you can say, you can build your own unique city, which I liked, which is a little bit similar to I compared this game to Quadropolis at some point, where you're also building your own city to your own shape, sort of. So I compared that part as well.
I wouldn't compare. In Quadropolis, you have much more similar towns at the end.
I mean, not the uniqueness of a town, but still building something your own city. It doesn't mean that they're still unique at some point, even in Quadropolis. The building of the town itself creates, I think, a little bit that AP problem as well, where at some point you build more and more buildings with more and more unique abilities, and it gets a little bit overwhelming maybe, even though it's a lighter game. I don't know, maybe for me, I got stuck in some of the elements in the game where I was thinking about combinations. If you do the combinations right, if you get the right dice, if you roll the right dice, you will get everything fine. But at some point, when you roll the dice badly or you don't get the right spots,
if you roll dice badly, what is good thing about the game just popped into my mind right now, you can still do quite a lot with the bad rolls. But regarding AP Pro and getting stuck, I actually don't agree. Because we had only like, how many, two moments of that where someone had to think a little bit longer. Usually it was whenever it's your turn, you're ready to do. You had like ideas, you just pick the dice, pick resources, do stuff. So mostly it's quite quick. If you have AP Pro people, yes, maybe, but
that's the thing.
Is the gamer's problem. In this particular case, I wouldn't agree that it's a game's problem.
I think it's a little bit of game's problem as well. Like 50-50. I know it's a gamer's problem to be a AP Pro, but...
In this particular one, yes.
All right. I don't really agree on that one because I think it gives you, as like in every engine building game, as further in the game you are, more things open to you and more things you should think about. But if you get your engine going, it's like sliding down like on a butter, you know. So yeah, but still, the other thing that you might mess up your engine and cover spots that you wouldn't need to cover, you know. The thing I'm afraid that in this game you might mess yourself up and create a bad city, but it's a game. I think it's a gamer's choice, gamer's problem, basically.
I don't even think that's a big problem because the buildings are not fixed, so you can just remove a building and build a new one if you really feel that it was a completely wrong decision. But I don't think it's very likely.
All right.
So let's move forward. This game is a solitary multiplayer game. You don't have much interaction.
Oh, you have army interaction.
You have possibility to attack other person's buildings and steal resources. But in most cases, you have much better things to do with your army than to especially attack buildings. Because if you attack opponent's buildings, yes, it will... opponent can't use that building for some time, but with the same army, you're most likely to get victory points from fighting off barbarians.
Yeah.
So it's maybe we're just not that type of gamers to
as
go.
Well. Yeah. We like to build our own stuff, and I like engine building games. And in this one, I was rather concentrating on more of that victory point buildings and resource building and everything else that gave me much cooler like abilities and much cooler like chain reactions. Because the armies just give you power and power and power, which you can use and getting the other cards, which is one of the approaches to the game, how to get good victory points. But still, it feels very solitary multiplayer at some points. And the other thing that what I'm scared about, we have played only as a 2-player game, and I think I would not want to play it as a 4-player game at all because of that solitary multiplayer and downtime. Because you have to do your whole turn. Like you have to resolve all your actions first and do all your phases first, and then the other player goes. Good thing is that you roll your dice again at the end of your turn, which gives you time to think out it. But still, if I would think of like playing 4 players, I need to wait for 3 more players to do that. Like in Artifact Sync, for example, the other dice placement game, which they're very different. But for example, there is a alternative rule where you can play basically to use all the dice in your same turn, or use one die at a time, and go back and forth between you and opponents.
The thing is,
I would love that more.
Even if the turn goes quickly, you still don't really care what other people are doing because it doesn't influence you. So it's not that on other people's turn you're actually like looking interested in what they're doing. No, you're just waiting for your turn.
Yeah, like in the last play, I had a call, I went away. There was Alina's turn, and when I came back, she started explaining me that she has done this and this and this, and I'm like, okay, I don't care. Whatever, yeah, I have my own thing to do.
We have to say that the game is actually really good for 2 players. So this is excellent choice. If you're fine with solitaire multiplayer, you want to have like a lazy evening and just for 2.
I wouldn't say lazy evening. It's quite big game for the lazy evening.
You don't use much of your brain power.
Except me. I think I use that. I use whatever I can, you know.
Okay, so yeah. One more really major good thing in the game for me personally, and I think for most players, is that you have really many ways to get the victory points. You have many ways to win. As I already mentioned before, you can concentrate on military, attacking and fighting off barbarians, or getting resources and trading them away. So if you don't feel aggressive, you can do more like a farm style. And this thing I like because, for example, the first game I clearly concentrated on resources and building buildings that gave me victory points. This time I concentrated on military, and that gives more of that replayability.
Yeah, in the first game I concentrated on military a little more. I tried it out, I attacked barbarians. Oh yeah. But I attacked you maybe once or twice only, just to try it out. Yeah, but but concentrating on anything else. So I concentrated on these purple buildings and got this combination of 2 buildings. With the expansion, there is a gold and there is a building. Oh yeah. When you pay 1 gold, you get 4 extra points, which is cool. So I concentrated on that and getting extra points throughout the game. So yeah, there are so many ways to win, so many ways to do it right or wrong. But all in all, you at the beginning of the game, you're searching for that. You can already approach the strategy from the beginning, but on the other hand, it depends what dice you will get, what will be your actions, how much you can mitigate the luck of the dice. It depends what strategy you will approach, which means there are some strategies that are a little bit longer or less long. If you want to if you want to have a strategy where you will fill every row with some buildings, then the game will take longer because you will not get 2 of your rows fast, like to build fast. On the other hand, if you will concentrate only on some of the rows, you'll get them built fast and end game and so on. So the game may vary depending on the strategy. And I don't know if every strategy is equally balanced. Going all out army, going all out resources.
I actually feel that they're quite balanced, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel that they are quite balanced. Although, yes, just to say that right away, you have to play all of them. I felt that the game was the major bad thing in the game for me personally is the game is slightly too long.
For what it is.
Yes, for what it is, I would want it to be at least third shorter.
Yeah, but it's also about the endgame conditions, I think.
Yeah.
If you approach particular strategy, you don't want the game to end. You want to build your engine more and more and more, and then at some point you will just end it. But you're not going really towards the ending of the game that much. Yeah, but the overall opinion, it's a good game.
Yeah.
I think we had only 1 expansion, All That Glitters. I think in essence there will be 2 more expansions.
Well, 1 more, I think.
Crossroads is the one that came out already, I think, and the other 2 or like 2 or 3 more expansions.
What?
Yeah, I saw more. They might not be out this year, but I saw more expansions. These are small box expansions. Yeah, it has much more of that expandable content coming out. I think it can be expanded, but
I would say that this first expansion was good. It didn't change game drastically. I wouldn't say that.
Just gave another sort of resource,
which is good. Yeah. In this game, the more variability you have, the more different things you have to do is definitely better.
Yeah, but
because in this game, if this game is long,
and our babbling about the game is long,
don't want to end up doing all the same. So yeah.
But overly,
overly, I would say it's a really solid, good game. You have, I would say it's really good, lightweight, on light side, engine building.
It's a light to medium for me.
Light.
I think it's rather family. Even if you can attack others, you can approach. You can basically not approach that strategy and play with your children as well. It's a rather family-friendly game.
Yeah, I agree.
Family-friendly in the meaning of understanding the game as well. And I wouldn't say it's completely my taste. Maybe dice placement games aren't my taste anymore. You know, because we have sold all the dice placement games basically.
No,
Almost. We have some, but yeah. But they have so many.
Games have to have something really special for us.
Yeah, I don't feel like this game has something really special, but I felt good when I built up
the
city.
same. I would say the game was really good. It just didn't have that something little special for us.
Yeah,
I think
matter of taste, but definitely would recommend this game to anyone who feels that he might like this game. It's a good game from AG.
Yep.
So let's go to our final ratings, dice ratings.
Sure, let's do.
Let's go.
I give this game 6 dice out of 10.
I give this game 6.5 dice out of 10.